I never thought that it would get to this, but the more I look at it objectively, I realize that my spark for life, my curiosity for life, it's just gone, and it's been gone for a long, long time. And I don't want to say I'm just now realizing it because that's not entirely true. I feel like I've known this for a while and I've just fought and battled it and told myself otherwise and occupied myself through any sort of means that can, take my mind off of it. Like, throwing myself into work and video games and working out and all these things. And the more I realize it over these past 2 days specifically, it really, really hit me because I sat in my apartment and I had everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything that facilitates my normal life. I had food. I had my own, free time to myself. It was my 2 days off of the week. I'm about to go to work for another 5 days, and I just hit, nothing hit. I tried playing video games. I tried working out. I tried, and maybe my life has just become so bleak and one dimensional because that's more or less my life. I work out, play video games, and that's about it. But the point aside, I don't know how it necessarily got to this. I had some moments and experiences over the past decade that I'm sure attributed to it, but even still, I always remain optimistic, and even now, I'd say I'm still optimistic. But when I look at things realistically, I realize that I just don't enjoy life. I'm not, and I'm not suicidal. I want to say that I'm not suicidal. I don't think, but it's hard for me to want to do anything, and it's hard for me to want to reignite that spark and get out there in life. And I'm in the golden years, as they say. Like you're only young once and all this type of stuff or whatever. I should be doing a lot more, and I know I should be, but I can't bring myself to want to. And every now and again, I get these fire this fire ignited under me where I do end up doing stuff, and I have this super optimistic view on life, and I have the answers to everything and a solution for every problem. And then sometimes I just, but not even sometimes, a lot more often than not, I get to the point that I'm at now, and it's even worse the fact that I'm sitting here talking about it on a video. I never thought I would sit here and record myself talking about this shit, but maybe me talking about this will actually help me because I do this for me. I don't know how else to put it. I do it for me. If anything I say resonates with somebody, then by all means. But this is a for me thing, or at least at the very least, this specific um thing that I'm talking about right now is for me. And like I said, I don't. I'm gonna try to not ramble so incoherently and try to keep things on one focal point, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm putting too much on myself by telling myself to box myself in. I've never been somebody that wanted to be boxed in. Ironically, seeing as I feel like I live a very one-dimensional life, but that's beside the point. Um, a lot's happened since, man, since for as long as I can remember. I want to sit here and focus on the past 10 years, but the truth is, even before that, I've had problems, and my life isn't no more difficult than the next person's. I see a lot of people have it way worse than I've ever had it. Um, and that's not to nullify the things that I've dealt with and been through, but I do realize that I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I'm just complaining or whining or whatever. And somebody's out there dealing with a terminal illness or whatever, what have you, right? But I can't help but reflect on the things that have led me to this point, especially right now, because I don't think I've ever felt this, I guess, low. I don't know if low is the word. I don't feel low necessarily. Like, I know that I said that I don't exactly enjoy life, and I don't. But I don't feel low particularly, but I'm definitely not at a high point. So I don't know. Maybe somewhere in the middle. Maybe somewhere just like a below the middle. Maybe at like I don't know, maybe like 40%, maybe 35%, somewhere around there. I'm around 35%. Over this past decade, I have experienced hurt, betrayal, and really that's about the gist of it. And it's just been a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? I've had some eye-opening situations. I've had some failures, and some things just don't plan out in life, and I've always had an optimism about it. Like, it's kind of like if you're playing football, right, and you're running it down the field, and there's a defender in front of you. You hit him, or he hits you, and you spin off of him, and you keep going. Then another one gets in front of you, and then you hit another spin move or a juke move or whatever. You get around him, and you keep going, and then another one, and so on and so on and so forth. I'm struggling to understand what's the point of doing it. Why not just go down? Because life is just this long, drawn out battle, and I'm feeling it. And I'm only 30 years old, and I'm feeling it more and more as the days and the weeks go by, and now I'm in this weird loop where I know that now more than ever, I need to be doing a lot more if I want a better quality of life. But I can't bring myself to want to do more. I'm sick of having to do more. I need you to understand that I've been working since I was 16 or 17 years old. And even though I haven't stayed at one job for any significant amount of, the longest I've been at a job was about 2 years, but I've worked. Not only have I worked since I was about 17, I've worked multiple jobs for years and years. And I mean, even up until June of this year, I was working 3 jobs at a time. And I always thought that I was doing things the right way, and people have this weird way of viewing you. Especially I feel like when like you're a man and a young man at that, where I remember I was talking with somebody. Actually, what? The best example. This was one of my older jobs. I worked at a car wash like 2 years ago, and I remember I was the only one there. It was me, my general manager. He was inside. He normally in the morning time he stayed in the office and did whatever the fuck he did for the first like hour or two or whatever. So I was by myself. I was supposed to be working with somebody else. They had called in, or maybe they quit or something like that. I don't remember, but I was by myself, and I got randomly rushed. It was a summer morning at a car wash. I got rushed, and I was working. I was doing everything by myself, and I remember, I remember one of the regular customers came in, and for what it's worth, I made some decent money that morning. A lot of people tipped. A lot of people were pretty empathetic to the fact, or sympathetic, whichever word I'm trying to use here, to the fact that I was the only person. And even though it was super backed up, they saw that, I was genuinely doing what I could to get the line down and work things down. And I don't get overwhelmed at work, what I'm saying, or nothing like that. But the point is that one of the customers got up to me, and I remember he was a regular. He came in like every day, every couple of days. Just regular. He had a membership there, and I remember he was he was a little bit older, probably like in his mid-40s, something like that. And he looked at me. He saw me working and all that type of stuff, and he was like, damn, boy, man, you really out here getting that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, he seemed so proud, like a dad being proud of his son or something like that. You know, I smiled it off, cracked a little joke and kept it pushing or whatever. But I remember thinking in my head, like, I don't make $1 more for this. I work this hard and I don't make $1 more for this. You know what I'm saying? And that sums up my whole work life. I feel like I just went on a bit of a tangent and maybe like lost the point. But the point is that I've worked multiple jobs for a while, and I've always done it with something in mind, or even though I don't have anything in mind, you know, just to keep myself going, keep the lights on, you know, keep myself, you know, having a roof over my head and things like that, and being able to eat. And obviously there's a battles that I got to do. I got to fight these battles. I got to keep going. And no matter what, I have to keep going. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the luxury of, you know, a support system behind me. I never did. You know what I'm saying? Like, from the moment that I became an adult, and honestly even kind of before that, but specifically when I became an adult and when I left home, I never had a support system. I've been homeless twice. So when I'm on my ass, I'm on my ass. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm not upset about it necessarily or anything like that. Like, it is what it is. I don't mind obviously working for, you know, for myself and to get the things that I want and to provide for myself. That's not the point that I'm getting here. But what I'm saying is that it is an incredibly tiring battle. I've only been doing this for about this adult thing for 12 years. And, you know, I'm supposed to be alive until I'm close to 70 years. Yeah, I think the life expectancy age is like 75, 76 or something like that. And it's like, wow, another 45 years of doing this. That's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy to me. I've only been in it for 12. And I'm over it. But even that aside, like, not even just from the work thing, I do think that work kills your soul. I've been saying this. I'll keep saying it. We are not meant to sit up and work 2 and 3 jobs and 50 and 60 and 70 hours. I mean, you know, when I was working 3 jobs, life was just fucking horrible. Even when I was working 2 jobs a couple of years ago, when I worked at the car wash, I also doubled as a dishwasher at this restaurant. And I think those were the most miserable years I'd ever had, especially at the I actually had a better quality of life at the 3 jobs I had over this past year versus the 2 I had a couple of years ago, which is crazy to think that my quality of life is better with 3 jobs than it is with 2. But regardless of the fact, not just talking about work, just I don't enjoy anything anymore, and I'm realizing that more and more. I was gaming earlier. I was playing obviously recording for this video, but I was also, you know, just playing other games in my back catalog, you know, games that I enjoy playing. I've been playing through the Arkham series. Kingdom Hearts is another game I always play. Kingdom Hearts 3, I've been doing the Data Org battles because I never got to play the Remind. And I tried playing Mafia 3 because I picked that up for $5, and it just, nothing was hitting. I tried playing Tekken. Nothing was hitting. It just, I didn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. I've tried going out and going to like bars and stuff like that, but because I don't drink anymore, it just, the environment is almost dead to me. And the point that I'm bringing up is that this is all stuff when I was in my early 20s that I enjoyed, and I don't necessarily believe that I aged out of stuff like video games. I know a lot of people like to say that, but the average gamer is like 35, and I truly do enjoy video games, but I don't at the same time. I don't. Nothing does it for me anymore. And I think it's because I do too much of the same things over and over again. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. I feel like I've lived the same day over and over again for the past decade, particularly for the past 5 years. But even the idea of doing things. I was talking with my girl about, well, we were talking about a lot of stuff, and we talked about like taking trips and doing all these things that on paper sound great, but I just lack the will to want to do them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lack the will to want to do them. It's crazy, and it's funny, or maybe it's not funny, but when I was a kid, and I don't think I really realized this until I was like 24 ish. But when I was a kid, I grew up watching a lot of cartoons. Once I got to like my teenage years, my mid to late teens and early 20s and stuff like that, that's when, or even in my early teens too, but that's when I started watching more adult cartoons like, Family Guy and American Dad and stuff like that. And as crazy as it sounds, I remember I used to think that life worked the way that it did in like the TV shows I was watching, particularly like, in a scene where, let's say Peter says that he's going to go to the Drunken Clam, right, with Joe and Quagmire and all them, and then there's a little cut, and then next thing you know, they're at the Drunken Clam, and they're in the middle of whatever they're doing. I used to think life worked like that. I can't explain it. So if you get it, you get it, but I can't explain it better than that. I used to think that like, oh, I'm going to say that I'm going to say that I want to do this, or I'm going to go do this, and then boom, next thing you know, I'm right there in the middle of it. And in some sort of like retrospect mindset type thing, I guess that can happen, if you put your head down and you grind. Let's say you want to go on a trip, and then you put your head down and grind for a year. The next thing you know, a year passes by and you're on the trip. Then yeah, I guess you could kind of look at it like that, but that's really not how life works. You have to be there for every minute and every moment and every grueling day and week and month and year as you're working towards whatever it is you're working towards. And I just can't bring myself to want to do it anymore. I feel like I'm at a point where I'm just doing the bare, and I mean the absolute bare minimum. I looked up and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I straight up said it, like, I'm actually miserable as fuck in life right now. And I never thought I'd hear that coming out of my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And this is everything aside. I think this is aside from dealing with the personal things that I dealt with in terms of, betrayal and hurt and just all these things from people and things like that, because that's something you can't avoid. It's something that it's just par for the course. It's part of life. It is what it is. But I realize that I just don't enjoy anything anymore. And even though I've always been an introverted person, I definitely had like a big like party like spirit to me. I just it's sad. I think back to myself when I was like 20, 21. And even though those weren't great years, they were fun years, and when I say fun years, I mean years where I didn't mind just having fun. I've lost the ability to have fun. I remember like 4 or 5 months ago, I realized that I feel as if, I don't know if this is the case, I feel as if I lost my sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a really funny person, and I feel like that's gone. And I don't know what to do. And I don't want to keep doing this. I know that I know that I need to physically do different things, and I need to alter my mind and my perspective on things, and create a different life for myself. But I'm at a point where I just don't care enough to do it. And I don't want to be 40 plus 50 years old with nothing. You know what I'm saying? It already pains me being 30 with nothing. And I mean, I guess I don't have nothing, but I damn sure don't have. I can't explain it, man. And it's not a material thing. When I say nothing, I don't mean material. Although a car would be nice. I haven't had a car in 2 years. That would be nice. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a house. I know that I'm this is the worst generation to want to have a house. But I I'm at a loss, man. I'm at a loss. I don't know how else to put it. I'm kind of rambling incoherently, but you know what? Fuck it. It is what it is. This rant is kind of all over the place, and it feels good to get out. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to get out, but I don't know what more I can possibly do to make myself want to do anything, because it's not about just doing different things. It's about wanting to do them, and I don't want to do them. I don't want to do anything anymore. You know, I feel like I'm rotting away, and I look at myself in the mirror all the time, and I tell myself, like, don't let yourself rot away. I was blessed with some really good genetics. I'm a good looking dude, and I don't say that to be like arrogant or conceited. I say that because I get compliments all the time. I get approached by women all the time. You know what I'm saying? I get looks all the time. I'm in good shape. You know what I'm saying? Most people, I'm 30 years old, and most people still think I'm like 19. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at myself in the mirror, and it grounds me a little bit. For me to at least say, like, hey, you know, don't let yourself just go to waste. And I'm multi talented too. I can do a lot. I can draw. I I'm sure if I got back to it, I could dance. I was a pretty good dancer, and then I just stopped once I started falling out of love with everything. But I can sing. I can cook. I'm very athletic. It's like everything is there, but it's still not enough for some reason. It's just there's just like this longing, empty feeling, like a void. You know what I'm saying? And I've been fighting and pushing back, and I'm getting to the point where I'm just too tired to and too disinterested to fight back. And I don't think I'll ever give up the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I ever will give up the fight. I'm not a quitter. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like I will keep going even if I have to stop and take breaks and go on hiatuses. But I've never given up, and I don't think I will. But it doesn't change the fact that this stuff that I'm feeling is real. I'm truly, truly over life. I'm over it. And it's not like I want to die, but I'm not finding a whole lot of reasons to want to live. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in this it's like limbo. You know, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm in limbo. I don't know. I wanted to get on here and just get out these thoughts. I've been sitting here thinking about it. And I mean, what more could I do? You know, I don't really have people to talk to about it, and I really wouldn't want to talk to nobody about it. I know that sounds crazy, seeing as I'm turning this into a video, but I just needed to outlet what it was I was thinking, and maybe one day I'll come back and I'll listen to this, and maybe I'll laugh at it, maybe I'll take something from it, maybe I don't know, but I needed to get this out of my system. I know I'm gonna keep putting up the fight and fighting the good fight, but god damn, am I fucking sick of it. I'm tired of it. It just, I don't know how else to put it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired.